Now, from across the Tri-States, this is KHQA Sports.
Well, we began the night with only 8 teams still standing in Illinois boys Class 1A hoops. One of them, of course, Payson Seymour, who had a chance to book a trip to Peoria tonight. All they'd have to do is get past Madison by playing 32 more minutes of that trademark Payson basketball. Every challenge to this point the Indians were ready for. Tonight at the Jacksonville Bowl, it was no different. Payson Seymour at Madison will take you out to the highlights. Huge crowd of blue tonight. 75-25 really was the crowd share for Payson. The fans had the signs going, they had the mascots going, and Payson Seymour had its game going early on. First quarter, Payson Seymour gets on the board. Beautiful baseball pass from Dalton Speckhart. Great drop off from Hunter Flessner to Cody Hildebrand. We're tied at 2 in the early going. Then Lance Bulig, very clutch shooter, and first quarter he gets it done here, hitting a three-pointer. 5-4 Payson Seymour, off to a very good start. Payson though down 3. Madison had answers seemingly all night. Jake Voss though gets inside. 8-7 Payson trails at that point. An offensive board here for Mr. Flessner makes it a 10-9 Madison lead. Teams just trading punches early on. Hildebrand connects from the free throw line, and Payson Seymour still down by just a point. We go to the second quarter. Madison would jump out to a 7-point lead, but the Indians, big boost from Gage Klitz right there. He gets the alley-oop, and the Indians would go on a tear as they came back into this ball game with a fury. Later on, Dalton Speckhart gives it to Hildebrand all alone. Payson down by just 2 after trailing by 7. All momentum on Payson's side. Lance Buehler gets the steal. This will tie the ball game at 18 apiece as Payson just playing out of its minds in the second quarter. Madison, though, would hang in there, hit some clutch shots. This three-pointer from the corner would put Madison up 21-18. But Payson had answers. Hildebrand just kept it going. He was phenomenal in the second quarter of play. 21-20, Madison leads after his two-pointer there. And Cody gives the Indians the lead here. Madison just could not stop him for about a 5-minute period there in the second quarter. Indians lead 23-21, and then later Jake Voss, the catch and shoot 3 off the inbounds. Suddenly Madison calls a timeout. The Indians are up by 4. This crowd is going nuts. Everything going Payson's way here in the second quarter. Still not done. Hildebrand is going to cut through traffic a handful of times here, putting Payson up by 5. He absorbs contact so well and just knifes through everybody. Baseline there, and he would do it one more time. I mentioned Madison could not stop him in the second quarter. Puts Payson up 31-26 on a take there. And then with the half running out, we are tied at 31, but Jake Voss hits a clutch shot. 4 seconds left. Gives Payson a 33-31 lead over Madison going into the halftime break. Now we turn to the second half of highlights here as Payson tried to protect that 2-point lead in the second half against Madison, but they took Madison's best punches. They get the locker room speech up by 2. So what would Brian Ray have in store for Madison in the second half? Well, they would have to answer quickly because Madison came out really fired up in this one. A lot of defense as Madison gets it down the floor, and as I mentioned, they can score in transition, and they did so right there. The guy to watch out for was Marquise Borney. More on him in just a second, but another one to Gage Klitz. He was open all night, seemingly down low. The transition dunk there as off the alley-oop, actually. Brian Ray keeping his team in this ballgame. Cody Hildebrand is going to tie the game at 42 here. Mr. Hildebrand had 21 points on the night as he gets in the paint. Madison, though, would go on an 8-0 run and lead down the third quarter stretch. And in the fourth quarter, Indians, though, not quitting. Hunter Flessner, big hustle play, big gutsy play right here, gets it down low. Goes to the ground. I believe he tweaked an ankle on this, got fouled on the 2-pointer. He was a little slow to get up, but credit to Mr. Flessner. He got up and he hit the free throw for the 3-point play. Gage Klitz, about one more for the big man. He had 3 of these tonight. Payson hanging around late, but unfortunately Madison, too many offensive boards, too many free throws hit down the stretch. Payson Seymour's season does come to an end tonight. Final score was 66-60 as Madison advances to Peoria, but a 27-win season for Brian Ray's Indians. Nothing to hang your head about. Congratulations on a great season, and we will hope to see you back in the same spot next year. How about a few local scores to go through on the diamond today? It was Quincy University playing a doubleheader in softball. They lose 2-0 to Notre Dame, Ohio, but blank Walsh 6-0 in the second half today. Also, Hannibal LaGrange baseball, a slugfest against Olivet Nazarene, 16-15. They dropped that one, and a 9-2 contest in the second one of that billing. 9-2, Hannibal LaGrange loses that. Also a score that came in late last night, 7th grade 2A volleyball in a sectional contest. West Prairie gets a 2-set-0 win over Payson, who was previously undefeated. So West Prairie will advance to the state quarterfinals in Hayworth on Saturday. Some high school basketball news to tell you about. As of today, the field in the 2013 Pittsfield Sauckie Turkey Tourney just got a little more interesting. Pittsfield Athletic Director Don Bigley has announced that Alton Marquette has been added to the tourney lineup, rounding out the field at 8 teams. Now, you may be familiar with Alton Marquette, a team that played both Pittsfield and QD this past season. Now, along with Marquette, the tournament now includes Pittsfield, Macomb, Illini West, Liberty, Payson, Seymour, Western, and Pleasant Plains. It is, in a word, loaded for the 2013 schedule. Exciting stuff there. Also, in case you missed it at 6, Lindenwood women's basketball coach Tony Francis is quickly turning the Tri-States into his own personal recruiting pipeline. KHQA has learned that Central League point guard Tracy Keller has given her verbal pledge to the Lady Lions, the second area guard to do so this season. QD All-Stater Cassidy Gangebacher, of course, signed with Lindenwood earlier this winter. Keller was chosen to the Iowa 3A All-State team after leading Central League to 20 wins this season. Also, all GLVC awards handed out today. Lucy Cramsey gets a first-team nod along with Chris Babbitt, the junior, as Tyler Thompson picks up a second-team nod for Quincy University, and Hannah Weedman picks up all defensive team honors. So unfortunately, guys, that is the end of our high school basketball season. But again, hats off to Payson Seymour.
Yeah.
A great run. We watched them all the way from last summer to now. A fantastic team, and they will be back next season.
Tell you, after seeing all that action, then to hear that they lost kind of broke my heart a little bit.
A bit of a bummer.
It was very impressive.
We will see them next year.
We'll be right back.